Hello everyone, my name is Eva. Today I'm going to analyze the character Claire from the chapter The Americans in the story The Refugee. Before analyzing Claire as an expat, it is important to understand her background. Claire is an American woman living in Vietnam, where she chooses to stay rather than return to the United States. She works as an English teacher in Quang Tri, a place that was really heavily affected by the Vietnam War. Claire is also the daughter of the U.S. bomber pilot, which creates a connection to the war. Her father participated in a war that caused damage to Vietnam and the people now she lives with. The history affects how Claire sees herself and how she relates to Vietnam. Most importantly, Claire chooses to stay in Vietnam. She is not forced to remain in danger, she chooses to stay. The background helps explain why Claire's identity is complex and why the word expat fits both her physical situation and her feelings. In this story, Claire is defined as an expat because she chooses to live outside her home country, reject her American identity, and find purpose and belonging in Vietnam as a way to stay away from painful history because of the war. According to Cambridge Dictionary, an expat is someone who does not live in their country. Unlike refugees, expats are not fleeing due to danger. Their movement is voluntary for personal reasons. Claire fits the figurative definition of an expat because she belongs to more than one place. Although she is American by birth, she works and now lives in Vietnam. At the same time, Vietnam does not become her home completely. Claire moves between cultures, carrying the values and language of the United States while putting herself in Vietnam. This connection between two cultures shapes Claire's search for identity and purpose. Unlike refugees, who were forced to leave their homes, Claire chooses displacement as a way to define herself. Her decision to stay in Vietnam is motivated by identity rather than survival. Teaching English and living in a former war zone allows her to stay away from America's military past while finding meaning elsewhere. Claire can leave Vietnam, yet she does not fully return to America either. This voluntary but unsettled position shows that she fits the figurative definition of an expat, someone who now lives between culture, chooses to move, and search for belonging beyond the place she was born. I use the image of a bridge to Claire as an expat. A bridge connects two places that separate but not completely apart. In the same way, Claire is connected to the two cultures at once. A bridge allows people to move in both directions, and this reflects how she moves between different identities, values, and ways of life. She does not only belongs to one side, but she is not lost in between. Instead, she stays in the space that connects both worlds. And like a bridge, she stands between two places and makes decisions, understanding, and also connection. Denotatively, Claire fits the definition of an expat because she chooses to live in Vietnam, while she is still holding some American citizenship. She is not someone who fled her home country because of danger or war, also some fear or something. Instead, she stays in Vietnam by choice, not by force. She has the choice to stay. Claire can return to the United States at any time, but she decides not to. This choice is important because it separates her from refugees who were forced to leave their home country for safety. Claire's situation shows that an expat is defined by voluntary movement rather than survival. Her existence in Vietnam is stable and self-direct, which clearly fits the denotative meaning of the word expat. When Claire's father tells her, "You're not a native, you're American," Claire responds, "That's a problem I'm trying to correct." This conversation between her father and her shows that Claire fully understands her identity as an American, but it also shows that she is choosing to live differently from what that identity suggests. She knows that she can return to the United States at any time, and she is not fleeing danger or lacking problems or protections. Claire has physical safety and ability to leave whenever she wants. However, she chooses to stay in Vietnam because of her own motivation and purpose. This moment supports the denotative definition of an expat because Claire is living outside her home country by choice, not by force. Her response shows agency and control over her life decisions. Unlike refugees, to refugee is someone who has no safe or legal options to return, but Claire's situation is defined by choice. Figuratively, Claire can be understood as a bridge between two countries and culture, just like I mentioned. A bridge connects two places, but didn't fully become either sides, and Claire's identity works in the same way. She brings her American education and English language into Vietnam by teaching English to local people, while also living and working within Vietnamese daily life. This moment between culture is shown when Claire tells her mother, "I am home, Mom. It sounds strange. I don't know how to put it, but I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. I have a Vietnamese soul." This movement does not mean that Claire has abandoned America. Instead, it shows that she has formed a deep emotional connection to Vietnam. Like a bridge, she connects two worlds. She remains legally and culturally American, but she also chooses to belong in Vietnam. She does not fully reject her American identity and does not completely become Vietnamese too. So she places herself between two identities, connecting them through her choices, work, and belonging. This figurative explanation shows that Claire's identity is built on connection but not separation. To summarize, Claire is an expat because she voluntarily chooses to live in Vietnam rather than being forced to leave her own country. She was still an American citizen and has the freedom to return to the United States at any time, which is totally different from a refugee. At the same time, Claire's experiments fits the definition of an expat. Figuratively, she acts like a bridge between two countries and cultures. She lives between the United States and Vietnam, connecting American language and education with Vietnamese daily life. By choosing where she belongs, Claire shows that identity can exist more than one place at the same time. For the reflection, Claire's story shows that exile does not always have to be physical. Even though she is not forced to leave her country, her emotions feel disconnected from the place she was born. Through her choices, the story suggests that home is not the only place where someone comes from or someone is born. It is where they choose to stay and feel the belonging and where she has the motivation to stay. Claire's experiment also shows that identity is not fixed. It can change as people grow or when they move to other culture. Like a bridge, living between two places allows Claire to learn, also connect, and grow rather than just stay in one fixed identity. This is my bibliography. Thank you for listening.